Hello. I wanted to come on and talk about the new moon in Leo, as well as the new Venus cycle that we're stepping into as a Leo goddess. And I have just like a lot of personal reflections, which I think is appropriate for Leo energy. And I feel like one of the things that this energy is inviting us to do is to focus more on our own life and what are we creating, and sort of bring the awareness in, like pull our energy back into our own life. And I guess that kind of makes sense with how, we just went through a Capricorn Venus cycle, which is very much like outwardly seen is like the ruler, the governor, the one with the wisdom or the influence, and we've transformed her. And our whole society is transforming through Capricorn right now as well, with Pluto being there again. So it was really about reeling in that awareness of others and thinking we know best for other people and bringing it back to ourselves. How are we guiding ourselves or following our own guidance and being our own ruler? And one of the things I really learned through this cycle, and I only really consciously started tuning into the Venus cycle when she was in her ascent in the evening star phase. But one of the things that I felt like I learned through that cycle was to trust myself more. And this has been like a huge thing, and it's a huge thing with your intuition. And whether your intuition is, how do I put this? I guess it's always just a learning process when you're learning to work with your intuition. But I feel what was holding me back for a long time was not trusting it. And maybe it was not knowing how to trust it. So one of the things with Leo is ruled by the heart. And one of the things I feel like I've learned is how to bring my awareness more into my body and get out of the head. Even like lately, I start looking at an astrological chart and I'm like, this is too much. Like, just get out of the head. I want to just feel. And in my podcast I just did with Tammy Brunk, something she said that really left an impression on me was, she said, I believe in what moves through us. And the truth is, the cosmic forces are moving through all of us, whether we're conscious of it or not. But when we become conscious of them, that is when we begin to see our choices between expressing things through the shadow aspect or expressing them in their more exalted forms. And that's what helps us transform. So being sort of guided back to myself, I've decided to travel this next Venus cycle on my own. And I've been guided to work with Sekhmet. And she was I found out in my reading with Tammy, she was my mother goddess since I was born. I was born in the Aries Venus cycle, but I also see her associated with Leo. So I got this book, Sekhmet, Transformation in the Belly of the Goddess by Nikki Scully. And it's going to be me and her working together. And she's come to me already through the end of the last Venus cycle when we had some gates in Leo, and just has had really incredible messages. I worked with her. The first time I ever worked with her was through one of the hardest things that I had to face. And what was amazing about it was that I literally surrendered my fears, and I surrendered this situation to her, and everything transformed. I didn't have to do anything except surrender and get in touch with my heart, release my fears, release my anger, and then she rearranged everything. It was, I want to say, miraculous. So there's so much power in settling into the heart and trusting and surrendering, and then allowing that guidance to show you when to take action. And I feel like we're being guided to really take action on the projects in our own lives that are going to contribute to the legacy we're leaving behind. At least that's what I'm feeling for myself. And in fact, it's really interesting because I really like using essential oils energetically, emotionally, and sometimes I just open up this book that I have that I love. It's called Gifts of the Essential Oils. And today I opened up to peppermint, and one of the blends is Legacy Creation, which was peppermint, frankincense, and wild orange. And I loved it because this new moon has me feeling a little bit again in my mush of a cocoon. Not in a bad way. It's a good thing because I know that there's so much that I've transformed. But this brought me out of my shell a little bit and helped me kind of gain some clarity. So it says, when you are at a crossroads in life and are feeling prompted to step up in life, embrace this trio. At first, it may feel overwhelming to think about your legacy, but allow these three to take your hand and guide you. Inhale peppermint to gain clarity, followed by frankincense and wild orange for the big picture and vision of the legacy you wish to live by. Frankincense magnifies the potency of your truth and ensures what you create and emit into the universe is congruent with your actual desires. Diffuse or aromatically dress in these as you embrace the unfolding of your legacy. And I feel like, all of us who are here in this time that feel like we want a better world and we're trying to have a positive influence, that is your legacy. That is legacy you're leaving behind. So for me, it's one of the things I really want to do is write a book. I am writing a book. And I really have to be focused in my own life and pull in sort of get away from the distractions of social media and all these other projects that I've been meaning to let go of that are keeping me from really focusing on what it is I want to create. And I am one of those dabblers, I can't just work on one thing at a time, but still, it's like a reeling in, okay, what is this? What is the true desire? And what steps do I need to take to achieve it? And I feel like coming into this Leo Venus cycle, she's rising as morning star. We'll be able to see her where I live on the 19th. And she begins her descent into the underworld at that point. So she's going to be releasing things that are no longer serving her and releasing them, handing them over to be transformed. And in my case with Sekhmet, I'm going to be handing these things over to Sekhmet to be transformed in her belly. And then, I won't get into the whole cycle, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So I wanted to pull a few cards. Something else that's in the air with the nodal shift and with this square to Uranus between the sun and the moon right now, and I believe Venus too, is there's a lot of realizations. There's another wave of awakening, and there's realizations around relationships, maybe issues of codependency and things like that. And just, showing you, giving you more clarity on what it is that you value and what you want, which is a good thing. It can be hard, but ultimately it's for the best. Ooh. So I pulled Sashat, Wisdom. I love her. Oh, and she's like the scribe who records things in the Akashic records. So she's all about going within to find the wisdom, which I really appreciate. And I'm going to see if there's anything else in here. Astrology. Oh. Deity, teacher of arithmetic, astronomy, astrology, and architecture. She's depicted dressed in a priestly leopard skin and with a banner on her head supporting a 7-pointed star. She is the patroness of scribes and builders and is the most cultured of the Egyptian divinities. She symbolizes the manifestation of intelligence. Sachet reveals herself to you to illuminate your path of knowledge on the mental plane. Her presence strengthens your courage, sharpness, and hope. Although you may have to endure sacrifices and renunciations, go forward and trust in her profound knowledge. That aligns so much with what I was just saying about the morning star phase of releasing things so we can really be on our truest path. That's beautiful. And then I always love to pick a card from my rose deck for anything having to do with Venus. So what message does Venus have for us right now? She's still sort of being bathed in that sunlight. Coming back to our visibility. Held. Sureness of the soil. Unseen help. Support. Community. Wow. That feels like a grandmother energy. And that is so much how I feel right now, just like I'm in this little cocoon and all these pieces are sort of like being rearranged. It's like within me first, which is then rearranging the pieces outside of me. Support, community. I want to read a little bit about that because it's interesting. I'm feeling like being more internal. So let's see what this has to say, because I know not everybody is feeling that way. When times are turbulent, to keep ourselves steady, we need something to hold on to. When things are crumbling around us, we must find something we can count on that won't budge. Deep roots to hold us steady when the winds of change come blowing. A supportive community around us. When we leave home, we must find something to hold us. When our lover leaves, we must find something to hold us. When the job ends, we must find something to hold us. When our partners die, we must find something to hold us. When we think there's nothing holding us, it's an invitation to find new supportive ground. This is where we can discover the sureness of the soil, the holding of the roots, and reach out to our community for extra holding. We were never meant to grow on this earth alone. Sometimes life rips from us what we cling to the most, or perhaps we cling to it for we can feel the cycles of change coming. Yet in the darkness of our longest, darkest night, we discover that it's in the empty spaces that we can be reached and held the most. It's in these that we discover a holding that we didn't know before, and we discover that what we thought was a tomb is actually a womb. You're being called to trust that the Great Mother has got you, to trust in the sureness of her soil, to trust the process of what's unfolding, and that you're not going through this alone. How can you call in more support in your life? What's holding you right now? Whew. That's amazing. There is so much change in the air. I mean, I know we all feel it. So I feel like this is telling you to find the supportive practices, the supportive people in your life. I feel very fortunate I have that. And it's really that place of love that we find sureness. That's, like when there's these times that I felt like everything's been ripped away, I was like, well, I'm still alive. I've got that, and I had so much more than that too. But you have to choose to see it that way, which can be hard. I wanted to pull a sacred geometry card as well, and then I think I'll wrap this up. Although I'll pull one more after this. Ooh, that one's popping out at me. Ooh, dodecahedron. Oh boy. I don't know how to interpret that. It's really beautiful. There's, you know what though? It's made out of pentagons. It's made out of pentagons, which is reflects the Venus star points. That's interesting to note. Let's see what it says. Divine thought. The dodecahedron, with its 12 equal pentagonal faces, is one of the 5 three-dimensional shapes commonly called the Platonic solids. It's associated with the female side of our natures and the element of ether or prana. It's the symbol of heaven and divine thought. Choosing this card connects you with divine thought and asks you to contemplate the truth of universal oneness. Both metaphysics and quantum physics affirm that we are part and parcel of every particle of energy and one with all of creation. Consciously move into your breath and connect with the prana force that resides there. Feel yourself moving away from the concept of duality and separation into an experience of a oneness and unity of all life. Breathe deeply and enjoy a feeling of harmony within your being. Visualize how this divine thought will affect your present life. Celebrate the shifts you are making and realize how they will aid all of humanity in our intentional evolution from polarity consciousness to divine oneness. I love this because it just comes back to that Leo message too, of how it's as within, so without. So what are we doing in our own lives? How are we reconciling the polarity within us? Because that's how it happened. It doesn't really happen from the outside in. That can be the catalyst for sure, but then the work comes from the inside out. It works its way out that way. And pull one more. Oh, she just flew out. Bud. Bud. There's so much magic waiting to express itself. This really makes sense too, right? With the new moon and a new Venus cycle. As the bud, my purpose is to support you in connecting with what's most enlivening and innocent within you. I am the maiden energy of spring within your own being. I bring with me a newness, a return to youth, and renewal. I herald a new beginning and an excitement that brings great hope. You've been in a darker phase, which you're now about to emerge from. Slowly, you can sense you're moving toward the light, growing and stretching, then growing some more. You can begin to see what's to come, but everything, all these hopes and dreams, are still held safely within. It's okay to hold the dream close to you. It's now budding with desire and inspiration. Herein lies the promise, a potential for more vitality in your life. A new phase is ready to unfurl within you. Be patient. This is a tender, powerful phase that you're in. It's part of your growth. You'll know when it's time to release the desires and share them. And I so feel this. Like, that was something else with the Capricorn phase, is I feel like I was really being drawn back in and really being drawn back to do some more inner work myself before I don't know how to explain it, but there was a slowing down and like a refocusing from the outer to the inner, and taking gradual steps and really like checking back in with these different parts of myself. And I feel like I'm continuing that process right now. That's going to help me really fulfill what it is that I want to do. Help me fulfill like my work, and help me come from a place of integrity, a place of what else? Clarity. Yeah. There's like there's always work to be done. That's what I'm hearing. That's what these cycles teach us, is that there's always a new expression that is showing us what we can let go of and what there is to be gained, or what we can transform. And really coming into a time where I feel a lot coming to fruition. And that is sort of with the seasons of a farming cycle right now as well, where you're starting to see some of the fruits of your labor. And yet again, it's time to start winding down again, you know, as fall approaches, and that will be a time of release. But yeah, just really feeling into the cycles, and so much newness on the horizon. It's all of it, right? Endings and beginnings. So I hope you guys have a wonderful new moon, and talk to you soon. Love you.